So sometimes you can't buck a trend because a trend is a trend for a reason, and all you can do is lean into it. So let's start with 4 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground clove, 2 teaspoons of ground ginger, a half teaspoon of nutmeg, a half teaspoon of allspice, and my secret ingredient, half teaspoon of cardamom. The cardamom has a citrusy, lemony flavor, and it really pumps this spice mix up. We'll just put that in a little bowl, give it a nice screw top lid, give it a shake, and now we can pumpkin spice, well, everything. Alright, first things first, we gotta have our pumpkin ready to cook. So I've already snapped the stem off, like so. And we're gonna do our usual, cut him right in half. And again, pumpkins, like all squashes, a little hard to cut. Some techniques just carry over. Go ahead and clean those seeds out with a spoon, and again, try not to go too far into the flesh. Onto a cookie sheet, just a touch of vegetable oil, olive oil, or in my case, I'm going with a grapeseed oil. Rub those all around. And no salt this time because this is going to be for a dessert. And these go into a 350-degree oven for about an hour. 1 hour later, they're done. Very mushy. And like I said on the spaghetti squash video, when you flip these over, be careful because there is some steam built in there, and that's what helps cook that through. Now I'll just scoop it into a bowl. Okay, so we're at the stand mixer, and we're going to make some pumpkin cookies. We're going to start with 1 cup of softened butter, room temperature. To that, we're going to add half a cup of white sugar, half cup of brown sugar, and we're just going to cream that. And as always, I will spare your ears. Once your butter and sugar is creamed, we're going to add in 1 egg, a teaspoon of vanilla, about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we're just going to quick blend those together. Alright, now our dry and semi-dry ingredients. We've got 1 cup of the pumpkin that we roasted. That was just roasted, scraped out of the skin, and mashed up with a fork. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of our pumpkin spice, 1 teaspoon each of baking soda, baking powder. The zest of half a lemon. And then we've got 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm just going to add that in batches. And in between mixing, I'm going to scrape it all down with my rubber spatula. Scrape it down, make sure to scrape the bottom. More flour. And more mix. More flour. And one more mix. Now, when you're mixing this, don't mix it for very long. You just want to combine things. You don't want to develop that gluten and make tough cookies. Once you've got your cookie dough mix, go ahead and put it into a separate bowl, stick it in the fridge. When you cream that butter, get it a little bit above room temperature. It gets a little bit melty, so give it 10 minutes, half an hour, maybe even overnight in the fridge to solidify, and that way when you bake them at 350, they won't melt into a puddle of cookie. Okay, whoa. Here's what I want to mention, the dangers of filming by yourself. I filmed this about 4 times because, well, sometimes I speak like English is my 12th language and I stutter like an idiot. I didn't know that I had a piece of cookie dough slung out of the bowl and onto my face, and I just don't have a shot without it. So I can live with it as long as we just don't mention it from here on. Deal? Okay, deal. Alright, after about 10 minutes, half an hour, we're going to go ahead and scoop our cookies. If you don't have a cookie scoop, it's okay. Just use whatever spoon you have, but make sure you keep those cookies as even as possible, because even if they're 30 years old, your kids will gripe if one of them has a bigger cookie than the other. Give them a couple of inches. They are going to spread out a little bit, so give them a little space. And these will bake for about 10 minutes at 350 degrees. And once your cookie dough is portioned out, use a wet spatula, give it a little bit of a mash, and this will help to make sure that they spread at a more consistent rate. I want to keep these as even as possible. And now we'll go into the oven. At 350 degrees, it generally takes 10 minutes for cookies to bake, but check them at 8. You might have to go all the way to 12, depending on humidity, your oven, the world's spinning the wrong way. After they get done, we'll take them out, we'll put them on a cookie cooling rack, and then when they're cool enough, we will pipe some frosting on them with the old piping bag and tip. Now, the piping bag and tip you can find at any supermarket, party supply store, or even art store like a Hobby Lobby. Pick them up, they're pretty cheap, they're reusable, and the best thing is it makes icing cookies really fast. We're going to use a cream cheese frosting to make like a sandwich cookie out of these. It's going to be really awesome. Oh, yeah, we should make the cream cheese frosting. Let's do that really fast. Okay, you can use a hand mixer for this, but I'm going to use my stand mixer with a paddle attachment. I'm going to start with a half a stick of butter and 4 ounces or half of a block of cream cheese. We're just going to beat that together until it's well mixed. I'm just going to let the music run here for a minute. Needless to say, both of those were at room temperature. Next, we're going to add 2 cups of confectioner's sugar, but I'm going to use a cup at a time. And if you'd like copies of the music, check out the description down below. We have some instructions down there. No matter what kind of mixer you're using, make sure to get all the stuff off the bottom. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, half a teaspoon of our pumpkin spice, and the last of our sugar, and 1 last beating. Alright, we've got a towel out to catch crumbs. We've got our cookie cooling rack. And we've got our cookies straight out of the oven. These did take 10 minutes on the nose. And then we'll just scrape them and let them cool. Now these stay a little soft, so if you want to, you can add another 2 minutes, go to 12 minutes or so, and they'll get a little bit crispier if you're looking for a crispier cookie. But I don't mind that they're going to be a little soft. That'll be fine. And now we can start the whole process over again. So once you've got your tip in your bag, roll that bag down about halfway like so, and it makes filling it up a whole lot easier. Alright, once your cookies are baked, cooled off, kind of arrange them by size, like so, and now we can start frosting them. So just flip them over, take your bag, give it a twist right above where the frosting ends, and just a gentle squeeze, like so. Flip that over. Now the piping bag makes this go a lot faster, and even better, it leaves this nice texture around the edge so it doesn't look so boring. It gives it a little bit of flair. Yeah, flair. And then just keep going until you're out of cookies or frosting. I want to end the video with just a couple of points. When you're putting the frosting on your cookie, make sure to leave about 1/8 of an inch gap around that edge so that as the cookie gets bit into or settles, it's got a little space for that frosting to squeeze out without going everywhere. Also make sure that your cookie is completely cooled before you put the frosting on, otherwise it's going to melt and run all over the place. If it starts to melt, just back off. Be a little patient, wait another 5 minutes, come back to it. These cookies are super moist. It's hard to make a pumpkin cookie that isn't super moist. Pumpkin retains a lot of water no matter how you cook it, and that water equals a softer cookie. I've baked these at 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 14 minutes. Those cookies always come out super soft. Be aware of that when you're storing these. You're going to want to keep some wax paper or parchment paper between layers, otherwise these cookies tend to stick together and become one giant amalgamated cookie. So there you go. Sometimes the trend is not such a bad thing. Feel free to bring a basket of these to any gathering you go to. You're going to make a lot of friends. And as usual, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, smash buttons, show us that you love us, and check us out on all our other outlets. We'll talk to you again soon.